Welcome to the Ancasta interview series, part of the 2021 Dusseldorf Virtual Boat Show. Today we welcome marine industry titan Laurence Mead. Laurence is the Regatta Director for Cows Week, one of the biggest and best known sailing events in the world. But what really caught my eye when reading his bio is the sheer number of executive and non-executive roles across some leading marine brands. Delving into his bio a little further sees he began his work in the sailmaking industry, working with long-term windsurfing brands like Neil Pride and Gastra. He went on to have a long stint in Asia, building brands in the footwear industry, before returning to his love of sailing and possible roots. We'll find out more. Laurence has recently become shareholder and chairman of Bainbridge, the leading supplier of sailcloth to sailmakers. So, welcome, Laurence.
Good morning. Thank you, Conrad.
So, I'm not sure if we've actually physically met before, but I do remember your son Oscar taking part in the Ostar in 2009 from Plymouth to New York. So, sailing obviously runs pretty deep in the family.
Yes, it does. I've sailed since I was 5 or 6, and my big passion in life at school was to win the America's Cup. So back in the day, there was no professional sailing, so you all became sailmakers, and theoretically, that got you into sailing boats. So for me, it's just been my first passion really for a long time, 45 years or something.
Yep, yep. Now, you've got a sort of a track record in your professional working life building brands, particularly in the consumer market. What was top of your list when you became the new Cows Week Regatta director?
That's a good question. I suppose the simple answer was to get out of the fashion and footwear business, which I have to say I never particularly liked. But I sort of semi-retired in 2017, came back to the UK after spending most of the previous 30 years in Hong Kong, on and off. I'd lived in the UK for a dozen, 10 years in the middle, but predominantly I've been in Hong Kong. So I sort of came back. I had a house on the island because of the sailing, and just fortuitously for me, the job came up, and my wife said, "You've got to get out of the kitchen, go and find a job." And I wanted something that I would passionately enjoy, and the job came up, and I was extremely lucky to get it. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Great, great. And Cows Week is one of the longest running regattas. It's coming up for its 200th anniversary. It must have been really difficult to have to cancel the event in 2020, but plans are going ahead. They're forging ahead for this year. What can the competitors expect?
Yes, actually, cancelling 2020 was emotionally difficult, but intellectually, it became a very easy decision. We held on, and I kept issuing announcements to competitors saying we haven't made a decision. But in the end, come well, what was it? Yeah, end of May, early June, it just became obvious that having a regatta of any scope that could be called Cows Week really couldn't go ahead. So intellectually, it just became, yeah, we've got to cancel. But really, we want to continue 2021 as an extension of what we had started in 2019. So we have really, in the past, never had a particularly successful closing prize giving. Everything needs a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Hmm.
And Cows Week, its prize giving had traditionally been on the Saturday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something. Most people had gone home. It was a very low key affair. And it really made no sense to me that we didn't have to celebrate, in effect, one of the world's most important regattas, a really good prize giving where we celebrated the winners and just had a great social time for everybody else. So we moved that to the Friday night in 2019. Um, uh, People who were watching may remember it was blowing 40 knots and driving rain. And we only had a small hall down at Shepherd's Marina. So it became a bit of a squeeze, to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
But we want to carry on with that. So we've got a really big prize giving planned with wet weather cover. And we're hoping we can hold about 1,000 people for that. So that's the Friday night to celebrate the end. And for the first time ever, we're going to have an opening party on the first Saturday night. We've got a sponsor who I will announce shortly, who is going to give us some alcoholic lubricants to get the evening moving. So we'll have an opening party, get everybody ready to enjoy the week sailing, meet all their old friends. I mean, a lot of Cows Week is about meeting people, the
Yeah.
social part of it. I always refer to it as world-class regatta racing. When you go out to race, it should be world-class management. There should be a good course. It should be on time. We should race as soon as there's enough wind to do so.
Yeah.
Shortened courses should all happen smoothly. But ultimately, it is a combination of social parties, meeting friends, family holiday with great racing thrown in. So it's a continuation of that theme in 2021.
Great. So one of your major partners is communications leader AQL, who are behind a number of exciting 5G initiatives, including the Connected Cows Week. What's involved?
Yes, AQL is a good supporter of Cows Week. Adam Beaumont, their founder and CEO, comes down every year. He's been a sponsor for a number of years. He rang us up in September last year and said that there was a 5G test and create project being run by Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sport.
Yeah.
Um, and he helped us put together a bid with Cows Week as the lead partner. Connected Cows will have 5 or 6 5G masts, temporary masts,
Hmm.
put in around the Solent, 3 on the mainland, 3 on the island, covering the Solent with a 5G network.
Yeah.
From that, we will put 50 or 60 high definition cameras on the backs of the boats, spread across all of the fleets, even hopefully down to flying 15s. We're looking at how we maybe get a carbon pole with a camera on top, etc.
Hmm.
So across the fleet, and those high definition pictures will use the 5G network to be beamed back both to our big screens here in Cows and onto the internet and to a new spectator app. So you'll be able to get off the ferry as a spectator, a tourist, download the app, pick a boat, and if you want to jump onto an XOD or a boat in class 5 or a boat in class 1, you press the button and you'll be transported almost like virtual reality to those high definition pictures coming back from the boats. So
Okay.
almost an America's Cup level of coverage, but without the multi-million dollar budget to deliver it.
Okay. So we're seeing firsthand at the moment how events like the America's Cup and Sail GP are really growing their broadcast audience through sort of exceptional digital coverage and content. Um, is this an opportunity then for Cows Week to start to grow its online audience? Obviously, it's quite a lot of people do love to come to Cows to watch the racing, but you're hoping to have more people perhaps tuning in from overseas.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's a Corinthian sport, not a professional sport at our level. And for the vast majority, I mean, 99.9% of people who sail do it for fun. But the number of people who follow it is enormous. I mean, I've got friends in Australia, Hong Kong, America. They all love to know who's winning boat races, what's happening, what the conditions are.
Hmm.
And even until a year and a half ago, I mean, I sail Etchells a lot. If you want to follow the Etchells worlds, you need to follow a Facebook page, and if you're lucky, they're updating the windward mark rounding 5 minutes later with the odd boat notice, boat 6 is winning. What we want to have is 5G cameras on the marks. So you can click on and say, okay, I'll go to XYZ mark, and you'll be able to see who's going around that mark at a particular time.
Yeah.
You'll be able to go on to the leading boat in any one class and see that they're coming up to a spinnaker hoist or a drop, follow that, see what's happening in the race. And I think there'll be a huge amount of interest from sailors across the world for much better coverage of the sport.
Hmm. Okay. So what other benefits can connected cows bring to the competitors?
Well, free 5G Wi-Fi access for a start. There's always a dead spot just in front of the castle down along the Gurnard shore where we struggle to get any 4G coverage, to be honest. And that's already with us getting an extra mast put in, a wireless mast we have put in, especially for Cows Week. So there'll be 5G on the ferries. There'll be 5G on the shore. There'll be 5G in the marinas. Which is all better access. We are looking at whether we can make cameras available to boats who want to for us to record their own footage.
Yep.
So it
Yep.
could be that we say, okay, we can't, our budget doesn't stretch to 600 cameras, but if somebody, we may be able to put together a package where we say, buy a camera from us or rent a camera from us, and at the end of the week you get 2 hours or 3 hours of great coverage from your own boat. Which again, you'd think of the number of people with GoPros on the back. This would be a whole different level of 360-degree footage
Yeah,
from the whole week.
yeah. If they can, certainly if they can access the 5G network, then it opens up that whole world to people doing their own thing as well, which of course is so many people now with and teams with cameras on board can really be broadcasting themselves live as well, which I'm sure will be interesting.
Yeah.
So I want to touch a little bit on Scaramouche Sailing Trust, who you've been supporting now for a little while. Fantastic program they made, making headlines in 2017 with the Greg City Academy School competing in the Rodux Fastnet race. Do you know a little bit about their plans for this year? Will we see some of the young sailors competing at Cows Week this year?
Yeah, that is an absolutely amazing project. There's a guy called John Holt, which some people will have heard of or know of. John is a human dynamo, almost single-handedly, and that's not to take away from all the other people who have helped. But almost everything needs somebody to drive it forward. If they're going to raise money for a Vendée Round the World project, as you know, your own experience, you've got to wake up every morning as the individual and say, "I am going to do this, come hell or high water."
Yeah.
And John is that man for Scaramouche Sailing Trust. I met him a couple of years ago, 2018, because some of his guys started sailing in the Etchells class.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I then had a couple of them crew for me in 2019, it would have been. And the guy who does bow for us now is a protege of that academy. He came through that, did the Fastnet race in 2017, a guy called Camillo, and he's now our regular bowman. And the Etchells came to Texas with me for the Etchells Worlds in 2019. So you see progression of people learning all the things that we love about our sport: self-reliance, self-discipline, hard work, focus. I mean, it's an amazing project. John and the Scaramouche Sailing Trust are doing great things
Yeah.
for a huge number of state school students who wouldn't otherwise get a chance to come and sail. And we've had them we had them as our charity of the year in 2020, but of course that was cancelled. So we've rolled it on, and we're going to do 2021, and they will be competing. They've got an e-boat, a Julian Everett design. They've got an Intro 22. They've got a couple of other mini tonners. They've got a Limbo 6.6. They've obviously got the Freya's 45. So I think they'll all be competing. I mean, all the sailors are just, you can't hold them back. If there's a race, they want to do it. They just get out there and do it. They love it.
That's fantastic. And as a result of that, we're seeing other schools looking to take part. Is that something that you think Cows Week could be exploring in the future?
Yes, it is. We have been talking about how to widen the participation group in Cows Week, although, to be honest, it is already very wide. I mean, I don't have the stat in front of me, but I would guess 35 or 40% of the competitors are already women sailors. And, there are excellent women sailors across the fleet.
Yep.
We've got plenty of young people. Freddie Peters, 14 years old, he and his dad won overall Cows Week in an RS Elite in 2017, and he was only 14 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And at the top end, we go right up to 75, 80-year-olds who are still actively racing as well. So we've got a huge range of people. But if we could get a few more schools involved, we do have quite a few sailing schools too. We have a trophy for the top sailing school boat in the week.
Yep.
And all through Cows Week, these battles go on between different groups of boats, different school groups, etc., etc. Which is one of the fabulous things about Cows Week. I mean, it's just such a festival of sailing, a festival of boat racing, and we are talking to John about how we could try and add some more schools to the mix.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Good to get that out there. So lots of initiatives. Obviously, in the next 5 years, you're going to be celebrating a major milestone with the 200th anniversary. Can I ask what's in your 5-year plan?
Oh, we are going to try and blatantly copy off the Royal Yacht Squadron's bicentenary from 2001, whatever year it was. I'm hoping I can invite the J boats, some maxi boats, get the Imoca 60s to come and do some racing with us, and have a 2 or 3 week enormous festival of sailing. We'd have Cows Week as the classic Cows Week event, but tag onto that some maxi boat racing. Try and get all the super yachts to come. Make Cows the centre of world yachting in 2026 is the goal.
So, huge thanks to Laurence Mead for joining us today. If you enjoyed the interview, then please leave a comment. We're back every day this week with a new guest joining us. So, make sure you hit that subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to get a reminder, it should pop up. Thanks a lot. We'll see you then. Bye bye.